It's a bit pessimistic for me to say this, but I often think when it comes to TikTok, people don't want to watch your video. They want to watch the next video. So you need to give them a reason.
Yeah, there's always something better. It's so easy to go to another one.
I think the best ideas are the ones where we get it and we're like, oh my gosh, we have to stop everything.
Yeah.
We have to film this now. We have to do this right now.
Yeah.
I think that's when you know you have a really good video.
If a video sticks around in your head for a while and you keep thinking of it, like that's good.
We do feel like working in online and making TikToks, funnily enough, is the closest thing we have to making movies.
I would rather go up the post-production workflow, the online workflow, rather than being a runner, being a PA, being on set. I feel like I probably have more to offer and more ways to show, I think, our uniqueness.
Welcome to the podcast, Austin and Lachlan, aka the Macfarlane brothers.
Hey,
Really?
thanks for having us.
You've got nearly 1 million subscribers on your YouTube channel. You've uploaded over 200 videos. I think your videos have over 500 million views. You were voted the most influential creators in 2023. You've left your day jobs. You have created a sustainable media business in the new media format. I really want to talk about how you've done that, what's made it successful, and advice that you can give to other people who are looking at this as a career path ahead. Can you start by describing to us the work you do and what your channel's about?
Our channel is called Macfarlane Brothers, named after ourselves, of course, and we make action, comedy, visual effects videos. They tend to have an emphasis on visual effects. They're very fast-paced. They're often based on pop culture, so we'll do something that's Harry Potter themed or Star Wars themed or Minecraft themed. We also do our own sort of original stuff as well. And our videos are typically 15 to 20 seconds. They go on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts. They tend to be very quick and snappy and punchy and have a very visual element to them. And we try and make them very, very high quality as well.
Your work is pretty detailed. You're clearly using VFX and some pretty sophisticated technology. How many people does it take to create them, and what's the process?
Well, right now it's just Lachlan and I, really. Lachlan and I will brainstorm everything together. So we write and direct everything together. We've got a whiteboard just outside that's outlined sort of what our next 5-10 videos are going to be. We'll have these regular brainstorming sessions, but when it comes to making a video, typically the process takes a week. We'll film at the start of the week, and then we'll edit throughout the week. So in terms of how we delegate the tasks, we'll both write and direct. Usually I do like the lighting work. Lachlan will edit the videos, and then I'll do like the visual effects side. We'll both do the sound effects, and then I'll do the color grade. But it's like a very sort of collaborative process, and we bounce things between us until we get something that we're happy with. Usually the process takes around a week. For the more intensive jobs, it's usually around 2 weeks. We've been dipping our toes into the world of 3D recently. So Lachlan knows Blender and I learned Unreal Engine recently. And those projects tend to take a little bit longer.
And you're saying a week full time?
It wouldn't be a week 9 to 5.
Yeah.
We try and get a video out every fortnight. And that's in addition to the other work that we're doing at the moment, including sponsored stuff, building the channel, and working on other long-term projects.
And other freelance jobs as well.
I see. And so you've got a pretty broad range of skills between the two of you. What are the base skills that you have that you think made it possible for you to work this way?
We've been making videos for a very long time. If you go back to our YouTube channel, you'll find videos since we were 10 years old. So we've built up skills over the years. We both went to film school, myself at Bond at the Gold Coast and Lachlan at Griffith.
But I would say, in terms of our visual effects skills, in terms of the post-production, is pretty much self-taught. The channel basically started when I was 11 and I started making visual effects videos. I've always been really interested in movies, especially ones with a lot of effects like Star Wars. One of the first videos was like a Star Wars lightsaber effect thing. And I was just making those videos, putting them up on YouTube. Austin joined in and he started helping with the videos, and then it was kind of all through school, all through primary and secondary school and then university, and us making these short videos. And I mean, it's only in the last couple of years that we've been able to do this full time.
In terms of, I guess, the particular skills that we think has benefited us when it comes to the online space, I would say it's our editing, honestly,
That sets us apart.
yeah, that sets us
Yeah,
apart.
I would agree.
There's quite a lot of visual effects creators online.
Lots of really great TikTok creators.
But I think when Lachlan and I approach making videos online, our emphasis is always to do with character and the story. And I know I say story and I know they're just 15-second videos, but Lachlan and I, we always want to sort of inject as much life into these videos as possible. So if we're doing, for example, a video that's a point of view video, and what I mean by that is that the shot itself is from the point of view of a character. Say I'm Spider-Man swinging through the city, the camera swinging through the city. We always want to make sure that you have a connection to the character that's on screen. So we want to make sure that we foreground the person's face. You see the person's face. We have a big emphasis on sound design and hearing that human voice, because I think that that's what people want to see, that connection to another person online. And the visual effects is obviously what grabs people, but we hope that people stay for that human connection. To me, that's something that sort of elevates. I hope that elevates our channel.
I think it's really interesting when you're looking at how successful you are, that there's a lot of craft that goes into it. You might have started when you were young, but this is not just a couple of kids playing around online. You're craftspeople, you work at your craft continuously, and that's why you're getting the audience.
We do put quite a lot of effort into these videos. For more extensive videos or for more complicated videos, sometimes we'll actually shoot like a pre-visualization of those videos. So Lachlan and I will just shoot it in our rooms on our phone and make a quick edit just so we can lock down the timing. Because for these 15-second videos, every second counts. Every second is really, really important. So we want to make sure that we're hitting those beats.
In some ways, more work goes into a 15-second short form video than a 1 minute or 2 minute long form video, because every second counts. It's got to come up on that person's feed, and they've got to immediately want to stay and watch it and not, swipe away. Because people swipe through, TikTok with their thumbs, a centimeter away from the phone. We put a lot of time into making these videos, as succinct and as engaging as they can be, which also does become a challenge sometimes when you're trying to do something longer.
For someone who doesn't know this space, can you give us a 101 on how you build an audience on YouTube and TikTok? Where do you even start?
There's not really a great secret to it. Just creating a video, editing it, putting it online, and doing it fairly consistently for a while. It's kind of different because we were kids and we weren't expecting to make this into a career. It was more of a showcase. But from when we started doing videos seriously, it took a fair while for it to reach the level where we could do this full time. We was kind of struggling for years on YouTube to get any kind of following, and then we jumped over to TikTok at a point where it was very popular. We did a Spider-Man themed video at a time when the new Spider-Man film was coming out. So it was kind of like preparation meets opportunity is sort of how we ended up getting that real push on the channel. This is all to say that for someone who's starting a YouTube channel, it does take a little bit of time. But I think honestly, the main thing is like consistency. And I also wouldn't worry about a channel that is niche. I think actually niches are good. I think authenticity is really prized as well. I would say probably authenticity and nicheness and consistency would be the three main elements of some of my favorite YouTube channels are like ones that are really niche and like, about a really specific subject. Like there's a YouTube channel that I love that's this guy talking about like linguistics and stuff in the 17th century, and he like breaks down how like the English accent has changed over time, and it's like really like he gets super specific, but it's so interesting. And I think people keep returning to those channels for that thing, whereas not so much for a channel that does everything.
Yeah, this is one of the big changes we're seeing in media. And what that does is it opens up great opportunities for creators to really be specific and then have a very committed audience. So with that in mind, who are your audience and how well do you know them?
We get this question quite a lot, and my answer, truthfully, is myself. We make the type of videos that we want to watch, and our audience has the same taste as us.
To give an example, some of the best performing videos we've ever done are these videos called Day in the Life at Hogwarts, where we've done like 6 of them now. The idea is, what would Harry Potter's camera roll look like? And so there are all these videos which are, purportedly of the students at Hogwarts filming each other, and you see like the magic going on, you see them running to class and all this stuff, and there's like a pop song underneath it. The idea for where that came from is because we were on TikTok and we were seeing, we're both fans of Harry Potter, And we were seeing a lot of people who were like cosplayers, who have created these Harry Potter costumes that are so accurate to the original movies. And we were also seeing videos of people going to like the real Harry Potter locations and, just taking photos of themselves there and taking videos of themselves. And we were seeing videos of people of like these like visual effects TikTokers doing these incredible, magic effects. We were kind of looking at all these thinking, it would be cool if someone did all of this. Why hasn't anyone done a Harry Potter style video in location, in costume? It seems like a missed opportunity. And those videos did really well. And I think it was because we were kind of filling that niche, or the hole in that niche where no one had really, people wanted something like that.
That as soon as we came up with it, we were like, oh my gosh, I want to see this. I think the best ideas are the ones where we get it and we're like, oh my gosh, we have to stop everything.
Yeah.
We have to film this now. We have to do this right now.
Yeah.
I think that's when you have a really good video.
If a video sticks around in your head for a while and you keep thinking of it, like that's good. A lot of our videos are based on pop culture-y things. And when we started out, we were doing mainly like Marvel, superhero-ish themed videos. And we were seeing the audience was very male slanted. And at a point, the audience kind of stopped growing. It plateaued. And we were continuing to do the superhero stuff. And the audience was also very like Latin America. And now, since we've done the Harry Potter stuff, themed videos, and they've done really well, the audience is way more evenly female, male slanted, and we've got a big Western audience, particularly from the UK and America. So I think the reason why our views plateaued at that point is that all the Marvel fans and all the DC fans, all the superhero fans were discovering our channel, and then at a certain point we kind of reached everyone on the platform. And then when we started doing the Harry Potter stuff, now we've got this whole new audience. In fact, recently we did a Minecraft themed video.
Oh yeah.
And now it feels like the audience is growing even more again. Yeah, it's like tapping into different niches and tapping into different audiences that are already on TikTok.
Yeah. But it's also interesting, on Instagram, we have a larger audience who is more invested in our filmmaking endeavors. On Instagram, we'll post like, live updates,
stuff.
behind the scenes videos.
Behind the scenes doesn't do as well on TikTok.
We'll post little like visual effects breakdowns, small little vlogs.
The audience there is more interested in filmmaking. Whereas I would say our TikTok audience is more interested in just kind of consuming
the content stuff.
So you've identified the different needs of your audiences and you're actually feeding them the content that you're seeing that they respond to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever done a misstep?
When we were starting out, we made this one video centered around the cameraman, and the whole shtick of this video, I think the first video we ever did was about the Flash.
Yeah, it shows the Flash running, and then it goes, everyone thinks he's the fastest man alive, cut, and you have the cameraman, he's like running after him. The joke is that, obviously there's no real cameraman in the Flash movies, but, if he was real, he would be faster than the Flash.
Yeah. And so we created this character. Lachlan was playing the cameraman.
And it did all these videos where it was like Superman's flying and then the cameraman's flying next to him with the camera.
At this point, we were only making TikToks.
This is the first viral video we ever had.
Yeah, and it got kind of viral. And other people started doing a video about the cameraman.
Copying the same punchline.
Yeah, using our format and using our music. And at this time, we weren't reposting anything to like Instagram or YouTube Shorts. Yeah, not only were people copying our format, but they were actually reposting our
thing on Instagram. One got like 20 million views.
That was our most popular video for the longest time.
At that point, you just can't, like, we can comment on it and go, hey, this is our video, follow our one. But no one's going to do that. Like, if you're just, on Instagram, you see this funny video, you're going to send it to your friend, you're not going to go, oh, actually, let me find the original one. No, I think that's probably the biggest challenge with short form, is that people are so, fickle's not the right word, but like they kind of don't want to worry about things. So like I said, they're ready to swipe whenever. So you kind of got to make consuming things as easy as possible to them.
How important is it to be across the trends and therefore be able to respond quickly? Is that key to your success?
When we were starting out,
we were following trends a lot.
Yeah, focused on trends.
Not so much now, but if something comes along and it has a lot of staying power, then we'll do it. Like, we put out this Minecraft video recently because of the Minecraft movie, and that one did really well. But this is kind of an example of a misstep. The TV show Wednesday, which came out a couple of years ago, there's like a character in it, which is a severed hand. It's based on the Addams Family. It's like a severed hand. And we thought, like this Wednesday is like, it's a really big show at the moment. It's really popular on TikTok. Let's do a video where it's like, we do the 7-hand and it's crawling on Austin. This will be great. And we shot it and we were like, went really hard at it, like to get it out very quickly. And I think from idea to coming out, it was like 48 hours or less than that. And it didn't do well at all. It's like no one really liked it. I would say probably the main problem with that video is that I think Wednesday didn't really have the staying power of something like Minecraft. Or maybe that it wasn't like our audience wasn't into it.
I think it's that, but it's also, I think the lighting could have been better. Like the first 2 seconds of the video could have been more interesting.
And so how do you use the data that YouTube gives you? What are you learning?
I think we probably honestly don't look at data as much as other people do. But the ones that we do pay attention to is retention. So after you've uploaded a video, there'll be a graph that shows the audience retention.
Yeah, it starts at 100%, and then, over the course of the video, it goes down to show how many people stop watching.
That's been really useful for Lachlan and I. Because when we're making a video, one of the first questions we ask is, what's the first second going to be? For a YouTube video, it's usually like, what's the first 5-10 seconds? For a TikTok or for a vertical video, it's what's the first second? What's the first frame, honestly?
You have a bit more leeway on YouTube because there's the audience intended to click on it. If they make the decision to click on that video, they're probably not going to click away in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas on TikTok, it's just served to them. So if they just go, oh, this isn't for me, they'll just swipe away.
It's a bit pessimistic for me to say this, but I often think when it comes to TikTok, people don't want to watch your video. They want to watch the next video. So you need to give them a reason.
Yeah, there's always something better. It's so easy to go to another one on YouTube. It takes a little time to load. They have to make the conscious decision to click, so they're a bit more likely to stay on that video.
Yeah, so I think when we were starting out for a bad video, a retention graph would look like 100%, and then after 1 second, it'd drop down to 10%. If an audience member watches past 5 seconds on a TikTok, they're probably going to watch the rest of it. If they get through that first 5 seconds, they're going to watch the rest of the video.
Yeah.
And there's little tricks that you can do to make sure that they do keep watching. Firstly, and most importantly, you just need to grab them with an eye-catching opening visual. For example, we did this one video which was about me trekking into Medusa's lair, like Greek mythology. So we opened it on a shot of our sister who's frozen, almost like a jump scare towards the camera so that people are swiping and they go, oh my gosh.
Which is a much more engaging visual rather than a wide shot of Austin in a forest. And I think it's also applicable to the end of videos as well. I would say a piece of advice would be don't have too much of an epilogue. Because as soon as it concludes, people go, well, that's the end of it, and they click away. So we try to keep the very end of it very near the end. In fact, there's a YouTuber that I love called Macfarlane, and he does these sort of documentary-ish video that's a bit Hamish and Andy-esque. And he said, a piece of advice that he said is that he never ends a video by saying, and so, because once you say and overall, da-da-da, people just click away because they can tell from your tone of voice that's the end of it. And if you watch his videos, he leaves it to the very last 5 seconds to kind of have the wrap up. There was a video where he's on top of a plane and he's strapped in. He's on top of a moving plane. At the end of the video, the plane lands and then it just cuts. You don't see anything of him getting strapped off or talking about his experience. He really tries and cuts it as close to the end as possible. And that's kind of what we've found is in some of our retention graphs is if you have too long an ending, people just kind of get bored.
Our most popular YouTube video was a Star Wars video, and we ended up having 1 minute's worth of bloopers at the end of the video because we thought it would be really fun. But if you look at the retention graph, I think it quite literally goes from 60% to 10% over the course of the bloopers.
Because there are just too many bloopers.
Wow. So just on a really practical level, when you come up with an idea, do you do a totally different edit for YouTube or TikTok?
We have the exact same edit for YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok.
It would be a different story if we were doing TikTok videos and then doing cut downs, but we're primarily on YouTube Shorts.
We've made a couple of YouTube videos, 3-minute YouTube videos.
And then done cut downs for TikTok. Pretty much the exact same edit, but the ending was quicker. We've done 2 long-form YouTube videos, and when I say long-form, I mean 4 minutes or something, that we've cut down for short form. In one case, we played the entire video, which is just cropped vertically, and in the other one we actually cut off the first minute just so it gets into the action quicker. So yeah, there's definitely a different approach you have to take for long form versus for YouTube where you click on it versus scrolling.
You guys are obviously very forward thinking technically. I'm really interested if you're using AI in your process, and if so, how?
Yeah, so there's AI that's inbuilt to the Adobe suite.
We use Adobe
in
for
Photoshop.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so we use Premiere Pro, After Effects, Photoshop. So Photoshop has this generative AI software that was introduced recently, and we use that for like paintouts. So if we have a light that's in frame, we
Or a
use that to
ladder.
paint out the light.
Or a stand.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the extent of what we use it for. Removing stuff, paint outs, rotoscoping, so masking people out. But we've never used it. We've experimented, but nothing's ever gone out where we've used it as generating an asset or something from scratch. I was thinking the Harry Potter one that never went out for legal reasons, where we did like the castle.
That was Photoshop.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that never went out. We've never used it for creating the effects from scratch.
Lachlan, I'm really interested that you said a clip didn't go out for legal reasons. Who was giving you legal advice, and how do you monitor that?
Oh, it was a sponsored video that we did. We like finished the whole video, and then the client decided they didn't actually want to go in that direction, so we couldn't post it.
Yeah.
So that was a shame.
Got it.
But
yeah.
I think that's the only time that something like that has happened,
Yep.
which is totally fine.
We did 2 videos for them, and one of them could go out, but the other couldn't.
Can you talk us through the money, particularly seeing you're doing short form? Because I understood on YouTube that there's more money in long form, but you guys are making a sustainable business from short form. So how does that work? Where does it come from? And how long did it take you to become sustainable?
Most of our income comes from our sponsored videos.
So a brand will come to us,
Yeah.
well, through our talent agent, and give us a brief. It's pretty much like working in an ad agency. They give us a brief, and then we come up with an idea and we do the video, and there's a bit of back and forth approval, and that's our main source of income.
And then there's also, the YouTube Shorts monetization. And you're right, long form does pay YouTube channels more than short form.
But it's funny for us to hear that, because ever since we started being at a stage where we're actually making money, we've primarily been short form creators.
I'd say we can make a pretty decent amount from YouTube monetization. We have over 200 videos on YouTube. And the benefit of YouTube, what we've found on our channel, is that videos from 2 years ago will continue to get views, unlike on Instagram or TikTok, where after a month, 2 months, it'll pretty much never be seen again.
You have a backlog.
Yeah. And that keeps, the views keep piling, and as such, the monetization.
Yeah. So things can suddenly get popular. Again, that Medusa video, which is kind of based on Greek mythology, it did okay. Then 3 months later, the Percy Jackson TV series came out, which is all about Greek mythology. And then now it's our biggest performing video. So that's happened quite a lot, where something doesn't perform as well as we'd like, and then suddenly it gets really popular again. But it's only really YouTube that does that. It's not so much Instagram and TikTok. To answer your question about the revenue, mainly the sponsored content, then the YouTube monetization, and then also we often do freelance visual effects for other creators. So those would be the main 3 things.
Was there a specific time when you went, right, that's it, or a number you got to that was coming in monthly that you went, right, now we're good, or was it a bit slower than that?
Yeah, I'd say, I don't know about you, Lachlan. To me, it was more about the opportunity than the money.
We left our positions at different times, actually.
Yeah.
So.
We kept getting opportunities for work or for travel. We kept sort of having to say no to. And so for us, it was, we knew that if we were able to dedicate all of our time towards online, that we would be able to reach a point where we're consistently making enough.
It got to the point where it was less about the idea of making money and being able to do it full time. I was 23. I didn't have many responsibilities, and we just kept getting opportunities. Particularly, we got the opportunity to travel to London to go to this film premiere and do some content for it. And we couldn't have done that if we were working. And at that point, I thought, if an agency trusts our brand and our channel enough that they think we're big enough that they're willing to pay for us to go overseas and go to this premiere and cover it in return for a couple of videos, then I think we had the staying power to be able to do this full time. So that was kind of, it was less about the money. It was more about, I guess, seeing people's faith in us and seeing people's faith in our channel that made me decide, you know what, I'm willing to leave what I'm doing and do this full time.
Yeah, I think that was the best decision that we made. I'm really grateful that we've been able to continue to do this.
And so at this point in your career, you've got this really successful online media business, but now you are starting to expand into traditional media or legacy media, whatever people want to call it. Why? What does that offer you?
Well, can I just say, I think it's really funny to hear you call it legacy media.
Lachlan and I are just interested in telling stories. And sometimes those stories can be told in 15 seconds. Sometimes they can be told in 5 minutes. We post that on YouTube. But we also feel like we have other stories that can be told in half an hour or in an hour. So our interest in traditional media, for me, just comes back to what format does the story best fit.
There was a point we were writing the scripts, and we kind of said to each other, this one script that we're writing, which is meant to be only 6 pages, this could probably go on for a lot longer and maybe even get up to like 30 pages or something. We both felt like it could actually sustain that length. I think the long-term dream is to be film directors, film and TV directors as brothers. Our goal is for us to be able to do that, to be able to tell these longer stories that we want to tell, and also to keep the channel going. Because I honestly feel like in this day and age, you can do both. When we first left university, we consciously wanted to take this kind of pathway, to go from online, to kind of work up this path and then get to traditional media. Some of the people in Austin's cohort at university, they're rising up the ranks by being runners and PAs on sets at the Gold Coast. Austin was actually in post-production for a time at a post-production company. I would rather go up the post-production workflow and or the online workflow rather than being a runner, being a PA, being on set. I feel like I probably have more to offer and more ways to show, I think, our uniqueness. It was like a conscious decision to do online to eventually like get traditional media. But definitely we're not going to leave, the online stuff behind just because we're trying to achieve this.
So it's an expansion. And I think one of the clever things you've done, I talk a lot about greenlighting yourself. If you're a PA, you're not on the tools of getting better at filmmaking.
Yeah,
the pathway that you guys have chosen, you've done that 10,000 hours plus probably so much more of getting your craft skills so sharp.
We do feel like working in online and making TikToks, funnily enough, is the closest thing we have to making movies. I mean, I did quite a lot of set work and like internships, and jobs here and there after I graduated from uni, which I loved, but you just couldn't beat actually writing and directing and making and completing our own little movies.
And you've just been funded by Screen Australia for the first time. You're making a web series with the team at Haven't You Done Well? What have been the joys and the challenges of working in that space with a bigger team when you're used to it being just the two of you?
Well, it was such a joy.
Yeah.
And Austin and I have wanted to do the Skip Ahead funding program for a long time.
Since we were in school.
Yeah, I mean, so many amazing filmmakers have gone through that, such as Auntie Donna, the Philippou brothers, Michael Shanks. Because so many of our Australian filmmaking heroes have done it, we wanted to do it. Even before we actually had any kind of following. Yeah. I think when we first discussed doing it, we had 1,000 followers. Yeah. So, and we definitely knew when we got accepted into the program that it was going to be a challenge going from the two of us to working with a crew, because we've never really worked with a crew. Right?
The most help we've had is like a mate of mine helping out, like holding the camera or
doing lighting for us or something. Yeah.
I mean, that's where Haven't You Done Well productions come in. It's been such a joy to work with. Obviously, goes without saying, we've been massive fans of their work. I used to watch their stuff all the time when we were in school.
It was definitely weird, being massive fans of Auntie Donna, and then Broden Kelly got to come on. He was in our series and we were directing him, and I was just thinking this is awesome.
And we've got a photo of us with Broden and the Auntie Donna gang back in 2018.
Yeah, we took a photo with them after one of their shows when I was 18, and then now we're directing him in something.
We've been really fortunate to work with them. So they've been great, both from a creative standpoint and from a technical standpoint. Creatively, in that we've been able to get help on how to pitch. We pitched a few different series ideas to Heavy Normal Productions, and they helped us understand, firstly, which was their favorite, and secondly, which was most achievable.
They have a lot of experience in the online space. So obviously, Auntie Donna kind of started as a YouTube sketch channel, essentially, and they still regularly produce online videos, whether for Auntie Donna or for Grouse House, which is their other channel where sort of their other stuff goes on. So it wasn't necessarily like we were the YouTubers coming into a, you know, stodgy production company that doesn't know anything about YouTube. You know, it absolutely fit.
In many ways, actually, on set of the web series was a lot easier than being on set of a TikTok.
Yeah. Because you don't
we're
need
just
to
directing.
You don't need to carry stuff or move stuff. Like Austin and I are doing something together, and we need to move a light.
It's like, oh,
move
okay,
that, yeah, step that up, yeah. But on this, you can just say to someone,
can we pop a light there?
Yeah.
And then I'll talk to you, and then I look back, and it's done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh.
In fact,
That's been great.
We had to get we had to film some insert shots that we missed when doing the series. I should say intentionally, because we wanted to focus on the close-up.
Is it insert shots of
It's an insert shot of a hand, and we did it like last week, setting it up, and just us. And we were like, it takes so long to just set up all the lights and get the, you know, when you're doing it yourself and you don't have like a lighting team or a camera team.
I think
it was like as long as that actual filming day.
half the filming day.
Half the filming day, yeah.
Our DP, Mark Desiatov, who's incredibly talented, and he had such great ideas. Like, again, we shot a previs of our whole series, and we edited that together just on our phones and just ourselves. So we had a basic idea of like the edit and the staging and stuff. But like the shot ideas that Mark had were really cool and really elevated a lot of the series. Working with actors was a big one for us. Obviously, we star in everything that we do, and we're not really actors.
We wanted to approach the series to make it something that would feel very natural on the YouTube channel and feel like us, but also, you know, we wanted to use it as a stepping stone and a calling card and something that where we can really learn from it. So we're in the series, it's an anthology, we're in the first couple episodes, and then we kind of become background characters, and these other characters it's kind of a different main character every episode. And so we intentionally did that because we're in it, so we're familiar faces to our audience, but then also we had the opportunity to actually be behind the camera and get the experience directing people in a crew. And for me, that was one of the most satisfying days on set, was actually the day where I wasn't in it. I was just really focused on directing, and we wouldn't have been able to get that experience if we were in front of the camera the whole time. And because it is an anthology, it's a lot of different locations, a lot of different things. We worked with a child actor at one point.
Yeah.
We really wanted to get the experience of like, you know, all these different facets of production to really like stretch the budget as much as it can, because it is taxpayer funded. So we wanted to make something that was really legitimately amazing, you know, and basically we wanted to build up all these skills.
We had one episode which was an ensemble of 5 characters, one episode which is just with one character. Yeah, we had a child actor and we had an older actor. In
fact, one of the most challenging things was filming a scene with 4 characters in it, all talking to each other. Because the amount of setups, like, it's a bit insane.
Sounds like it was a real opportunity for you to expand your skills and show what you could do with more, building on your base.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I feel like the appeal of the Macfarlane Brothers brand is the content that we make, not necessarily our faces. That's my personal opinion. I'd be interested to see how our audience reacts to that, to us not being in some of the episodes, because they're still very us. Like the visual style and the style of comedy and the visual effects, I think we're very much still in there.
Yeah. That'll be super interesting to see how your audience respond to that. And have you planned, like, did you shoot a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of additional content so that you could really expand how you go out to market with this piece?
We absolutely did, yeah. We had a behind-the-scenes cameraman who was shooting everything, doing interviews with people all throughout production. We also filmed our writing sessions as well, like filmed videos of us brainstorming just in case we can use that. And we've kind of been periodically just kind of filming stuff with us during post-production, just talking about how things are going. And when we finish the whole series, we'll probably just film a sit-down interview with us.
Talk through the whole
thing to use that as linking narration.
Smart.
We even recorded us going to the workshop for Screen Australia, because all the successful applicants had to go to a workshop. So we plan to make that into a video, or maybe even a series of videos documenting like our journey, to kind of bring the audience on the journey to, feel like they're with us as we talk about our filmmaking journey.
And again, I also hope that this is something that this documentary piece that we're talking about now is something that I kind of wanted to watch 5-6 years ago when I was hearing about the Skip Ahead program. So I hope that other people can really get something out of it, and they can learn the process of what it's like to work with Screen Australia.
Jumping back to what Austin was saying about our faces and being in it versus not being in it, it is a challenge as a creator to try and have this business where you are you're running it, but also you're the face of it. It would be much easier if you had one person who was the face of it and one person who was the behind the scenes person. I think when I think about successful YouTube channels that have pivoted from being centered around a couple of people who, people love their personalities, people love their faces, to then switching that out, they've all kind of had speed bumps. I don't know if your listeners will know this, but Game Theory by, is it Matthew Patterson?
Yeah.
He has left, he set up the channel Game Theory and all the subsequent channels 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then now he's retired, but he's had other hosts come on and host the channel. And I get the feeling that it was a bit of a rocky road for him to try and transition to leading that.
I'd say he's been successful, but I agree it would have been a rocky road.
People love the format of his channel, but they also love him and his personality. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a challenge.
That's one of the things of this new mediascape is it's so relational. People enjoy the fact that they can have that connection. So it's a really interesting challenge. If you were talking to someone now who was looking at getting into this space in TikTok or YouTube, kind of treading the same path that you guys have been on, what advice would you give them?
The key is to just upload, just consistently make videos and just put it out there. If we get into the nitty gritty, Lachlan and I, we really found our success when we started uploading to TikTok. And as we mentioned before, that's because TikTok is far more of a merit-based system. On YouTube, you have to market your video so that people will click on it.
Thumbnail. Yep.
Yeah. Whereas on TikTok, if the video is good, it'll perform well. So it's probably easier for a new creator to start their creator journey on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, and then sort of like we did, feed their audience onto their other platforms.
It is a challenge to bring people onto those other platforms because it's just once you're scrolling, you kind of just want to keep doing that. It's honestly, it's a challenge to get people to go from doing this to then, turning the phone this way horizontally, and so that is a challenge, and it's actually one that we're trying to work on, getting more people from the vertical into horizontal videos, like young filmmakers. I don't think young filmmakers use social media enough to put up their short films or put up their videos or put up what they're working on. There are so many times where I see an emerging filmmaker has got a website, and you go on the website and it has none of their work. It's where there's no short films on here or something. And I get sometimes people are embarrassed by, what they did in university or whatever,
or people are entering into festivals.
But often you see a lot of those short films or videos kind of disappear. Most of the opportunities that we've gotten over the last couple of years have been through people finding the channel and just going off the strength of the videos on the channel, more so than anything else, really.
Where do you guys hope to be in 5 years?
It's a tough question. I reckon we want to have our workflow and process a lot more locked down.
Yeah.
At the moment, I think we're still trying to work out how to get the videos out regularly and have time to do the stuff we want to do. I reckon in 5 years, we'll have more of a team involved in what we do.
Yeah.
I reckon we won't be the face of Macfarlane Bros as much. Hopefully we've got a feature film on the way. That would be the dream.
100%. We're flattering Auntie Donna a lot on this podcast. Podcast.
Genuinely.
But I am very inspired by the way that they're able to have a Netflix show and consistently upload YouTube videos, have their ABC show and consistently do their podcast.
Yeah.
I think if we can have a bit of a team that is able to consistently push out YouTube videos and online videos, that enables us to have time to work on other long form projects.
Definitely the channel has grown more inconsistent whilst we've been working on the web series. So I think in 5 years, we'll probably get to a stage where we won't have to worry about that, and we can be able to work on long form and have both running full steam.
I think it's super smart. And the model that Auntie Donna have that I'm seeing now in the companies that are successful and are going to, I think, be successful into the future, I'm calling revenue stacking. So it really is what you're saying. Like you've got your YouTube stream that's working, but you've also got your podcasts, and you can pitch to ABC, and you can have your feature films, and you can it's and. I think the days in which you could make a sustainable business just from getting television up or just from making films is fast fading away. So that sounds exciting. You guys are so impressive. I always finish the podcast asking people to pitch a big idea, an idea that would make the industry better for all of us. So what's an idea that you think would make the industry better for everyone?
I would like to see more, not only like federal investment, but private investment into the online space in Australia. I want to see very high quality productions come out on online media. Like I look at something like, Severance or whatever. Like that's an amazing, very high quality show. Could we have something like that come out, in an online environment where it'd have to be a lot cheaper to make. I mean, should I mention the Kane Pixels
Backrooms series?
There's this filmmaker in America called Kane Pixels. He's like 18. He's done this incredible science fiction web series that he's like directed and animated all himself. And I kind of want to see more stuff like that come out. I mean, particularly in Australia. I'm a fan of genre filmmaking, and I think online media is a great place to. I would just kind of like to see more weird and interesting and really engaging stuff come out of Australia.
I think there's this view that online is a genre instead of a platform.
I think where people are struggling is how they can make that sort of genre stuff at a budget that works with YouTube.
Yeah.
That's the question that everyone's asking.
Sure.
And I think that's why filmmakers like you, who can do so much of it yourself and bring the costs down by having so many skills, really do own the future right now.
That's nice to hear.
It's very nice of you to
Definitely, I think, ultimately the fact that we're so on the tools is kind of a factor in what we've been able to do. We kind of have to be on the tools in order to have this kind of success.
Yeah. Great to speak with you. Thank you so much. We Interrupt This broadcast is recorded on the unceded lands of the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation and the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains, and we acknowledge them as the traditional custodians and first storytellers of these regions. Always was, always will be.